Why do we make the decisions we do? Are they as rational as we believe? Welcome to the intriguing world of behavioral economics as we explore the insightful book, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely. We often think of ourselves as logical beings making sensible decisions. However, Ariely suggests otherwise. Our decision-making, it seems, is not as rational as we like to think. In fact, we are predictably irrational. So let's dive into the world of our predictably irrational minds. Ever noticed how your perception of something changes when you compare it to something else? This question forms the crux of the concept of relativity, as presented in Dan Ariely's insightful book, Predictably Irrational. It's fascinating how our minds work, isn't it? We rarely make decisions based on absolute values. Instead, we compare, constantly contrasting one thing against another. Let's delve a bit deeper. When choosing between options, we often opt for the one that seems a better deal in comparison to the others, even if it's not the best choice in absolute terms. It's like picking the least rotten apple from a bad bunch. But why? Because relativity makes it easier for us. It's simpler to say this is better than that than to define what good means in absolute terms. This reliance on relativity can lead us to make irrational choices. It's a powerful yet hidden force guiding our decisions. So remember, everything is relative, and that impacts our decisions more than we might think. Do you ever feel obligated to return a favor or follow the crowd? This question brings us to our discussion on the cost of social norms, a powerful yet invisible force that shapes our everyday decisions. Social norms aren't necessarily written laws, but they're guidelines we've accepted as a society. They tell us to hold the door for the person behind us, to say thank you when someone helps us, and to conform to general expectations. But here's the catch. These norms can manipulate us, often making us act against our own interests. For instance, consider how you might feel obligated to attend a party because you don't want to disappoint your friends, even though you'd rather stay home and relax. This conflict between what we want and what we feel we should do is a classic example of the cost of social norms. So, social norms, while seemingly harmless, can greatly influence our irrational behavior. Ever made a decision in the heat of the moment that you later regretted? This scenario is a classic example of the influence of arousal on our decision-making. Arousal, in this context, isn't just about sexual excitement. It can be any intense emotion such as anger, fear, or even extreme happiness. When we're in a state of arousal or when we're hot, our decisions can drastically swing from what we choose if we were calm or cold. This is because arousal tends to amplify our immediate emotions while drowning out our rational thoughts. That's why we sometimes make decisions that seem completely out of character when we're under the influence of strong emotions. Imagine you're in a heated argument. In the heat of the moment, you might say hurtful words that you wouldn't ordinarily say if you were calm. That's arousal at work. So, here's the takeaway. Our decisions aren't always as rational as we think. Remember, our state of arousal can dramatically alter our decision-making process, often leading to irrational choices. So, what does all this mean for us? Well, let's take a moment to wrap up what we've learned from Dan Ariely's insightful work, Predictably Irrational. We began by exploring the power of relativity, understanding how our brains are wired to compare things rather than evaluate them in isolation. This means we often make decisions based on comparisons, even when they might not serve our best interests. The takeaway? Try to step back and look at the bigger picture before making a choice. Then, we delved into the cost of social norms. We learned that our behavior is heavily influenced by societal expectations and norms, sometimes leading us to act irrationally. So next time, before you follow the crowd, ask yourself, does it really make sense, or are you just conforming to societal norms? We also uncovered the influence of arousal on our decision-making processes. Emotions, being in a state of excitement or distress, can significantly cloud our judgment, leading us astray from logical choices. Remember this: when you feel your emotions are running high, take a step back, breathe, and try to make decisions with a clear mind. Understanding these concepts can help us navigate through our predictably irrational decision-making processes. It gives us a chance to pause, reflect, and strive for better decisions. So, next time you have a decision to make, remember, you're not as rational as you think, but that's okay. It's just part of being human.